to cloud server. All right. Thank you for joining us, Eileen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Eugene.
Hello. Yeah, I'm very passionate about personal brands, and I've been scouting, sourcing through the internet, through LinkedIn, through Facebook to look for very authentic, very positive personal brands. And your name constantly pops up. Yeah.
I just happened to pop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you were famous since young, obviously, started appearing in newspapers and all that, representing Singapore. And then, some people disappear already. I'm sure you had a lot of different representatives during that age, but a lot of them don't know where they are now. Yeah, but you are still here and now you're advocating for different causes. So today I'm going to interview you on a wide range of topics, yeah, but all related to your personal brand as Eileen Chai. Can I? Okay,
Okay,
let's start from the
sure.
very beginning. Yeah. So, how come you were so famous? Since childhood, like, what happened? Can you share? Yeah.
I would like to downplay that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I started sports when I was very young, like 4 years old.
Okay.
And I think what got the media rolling was when I started representing Singapore at the age of 7 years old. So at 7 years old, I still am. I still am the youngest to have represented Singapore for the Southeast Asia Games.
Got it.
Might probably be the youngest now because will still continue to be the youngest because a lot of age restrictions has been put in place for competitors.
Right.
Yeah, so
Due to the stress given to the child and all that, I'm sure. Right.
not only mental stress, I guess it's physiological as well.
Yes.
It's not good to focus in a certain sport that young as well. So I think that's one of the main reasons I would assume now.
Yeah.
So I guess that was how it all started. Then I started training in China when I was 9 years old.
Right.
And then when I was 10 years old, I started to get medals in international competitions.
Wow.
Then at 13 years old, I won my bronze. I won a SEA Games bronze medal at 13 years old. Then I went on to track and field. Let me see. I track and field at 15 years old. I actually broke the national age group record.
Yes.
In hurdles. Then at 16 years old, I went to diving and I won the gold in the Asia Pacific. If I recall correctly, it's been such a long time. Asia Pac diving competition.
So 3 different sports, all with medals.
All with medals, yeah.
Okay.
Then I actually stopped sports altogether at about 17 years old, and 10 years later I went back into the sport and into the hurdles, and I broke the national hurdles record at that point in time now.
So you mean I guess 27 you went back to sports?
26 I went back, 25, about 25 years old I went back to the sports, and then 27 years old I broke the national record for 100-meter hurdles.
I assume the 10 years gap is because of studying.
A lot of things. Well, I got married, then I got divorced.
Okay.
I went to music. I was in Chicago studying music. Then I left the school.
Oh, you went to Chicago?
Yes. Then I came back.
Right.
Then I went to teaching with the Ministry of Education. So I was a teacher. So there were a lot of things that went through during
those
that 10
years.
years.
Those 10 years.
Yes.
Oh, very colorful.
Yeah. So I guess to answer your question, how come is I guess the main thing was I started young. At age of 7, and then along the way I just kept progressing and won medals, broke the records, and how I got so-called a bit well known now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have multiple newspaper cutouts, I'm sure, right?
My mom was the one who actually has been keeping all the newspaper articles
in some kind of clear folder, right?
A clear folder, also like a wall filled with all my articles, and the medals in the cupboard now. So no longer hanging. So just put it in the cupboard. It's okay. Just put it there. That's all in the past.
Yeah. She must be very proud, I can imagine.
Well, I'm sure. I think all parents will be proud of their
Yes.
children when they win something. But I guess the most important thing is the journey.
Mm.
Right. I think it hasn't been easy for my parents, especially for my mom. Maybe when your child gets injured, like when I was injured, I think it worries the parents quite a
Yes.
bit. Or when they know that you are alone in China, they do feel for you lah. They do feel for you. So as much as they were very happy and proud for me talking about the situation that I was in, but I think they also went through a lot of
Yes.
agony
Ah,
and a lot of money spent as well. Don't forget that.
for the coaches, training, overseas trip, everything lah.
Yeah, and the medical bills.
Wow. You mean Singapore Sports Council didn't cover the medical bill?
Eh,
Okay,
eh,
change topic, change topic.
well, I guess to be fair,
Uh,
as much as I was pretty well known, I was improving, but I don't think my level of performance was as high as what they had expected me to be,
okay.
probably. So I do not get enough. I do not qualify a certain band
Okay. They have a
for the
certain.
funding.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Fair one,
I
it's
mean,
quite fair.
to be fair to
Yeah.
them as well lah.
I'm just wondering only. Yeah, it's a
and I
curious question. I have no agenda. Okay.
and no problem, I understand. And also because a lot of things was the choice that I made. So it was not because sports council or the association sent me overseas to compete or to train, I mean.
Right.
It was actually a choice of my own. So because it was a personal choice,
Yeah.
so it was a lot of self-funding.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, I was not sent by the associations.
So after 27, you switch career.
After 27,
Because
well,
you won the hurdles, right?
yes, well, I broke the national record.
Ah, that's right.
So at 27, once I broken the national record, actually during that period of time, I was already a teacher with the Ministry of Education. So I was already teaching, I was already coaching like really track and field coaching.
Mm.
But I was also going for courses to become international technical official. So that means like a judge for gymnastics, a
Oh,
judge for diving,
yeah.
and to become an international coach, as internationally qualified coach for track and field. So I was
Yeah.
already juggling quite a number of things into the education side of things.
Yes.
Yeah. Music I was still playing as and when there were performances. I will still pick up the performance and go for it.
Yes.
And I was actually teaching violin part-time as well.
Wow.
But when I say violin part-time, meaning it was only like 1 or 2 students, really part-time. Because
Okay.
I was still interested in teaching.
Yes. So that was
Yeah.
27, 28, 29 until when?
20. So it was 27 probably until my early 30s. Then I started to leave full-time employment to become an entrepreneur. Go into my own, so set up my own teaching school.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean my teaching school
Violin,
is here lah. Sorry.
violin, right?
Yes, violin. So to teach
Can you remind us the
violin.
name so that people can Google it?
Yeah, it's called Teach a Life for Life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Teach a life for life.
Yes, Teach a Life for Life. So what Teach a Life for Life is about is to share life lessons learned during music lesson time. So that means when I teach a child violin or viola, or when I teach them music theory, it's not just to teach them the technique, it's just to teach them to answer the questions, but I will also along the way teach them about resilience, teach them about respect, not only just respect for the adults or to each other, to peers, but also to respect the instrument itself as well. So that is about life lessons, because I can see that nowadays for kids, I think you're a parent yourself.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays our children, they do go through a lot of stress. So during lesson time, I at least do try, and I'm trying to be very much aware as well, that the kids try to have fun during lesson time. But of course, if they have violin exams or when they have a performance, then I become a little bit stricter because they need to be at the top form. But otherwise, I try to make it more fun filled for them, because when you are having fun, then you can absorb more, right? If I start to scold them, which I used to, by the way, so I start to change my style of teaching. So I realize when I start to scold, I get emotional. The child gets emotional. Nobody learns anything. So the lesson becomes wasted. So I try not to scold nowadays as well.
So what gave you the courage to leave MOE, such a stable job, to start a violin school?
Okay. So after being a teacher with the Ministry of Education, I actually did not go straight into teach a life for life. I actually went into sports council. To become a sports performance manager, meaning that I helped to look into the funding, look into the training programs of the various sports associations.
That's still a full-time job, lah.
Yes, that I was employed. And during that time, I was also involved with the Asian Youth Games as well as the Youth Olympic Games. So I did events management. Then after that, after Singapore Sports Council, I actually left and went into ESPN to do events management. So for ESPN, we actually had to travel to other countries to set up the events. We were doing a particular event at that point in time. So I had to travel. Then after ESPN, I left and went into, because I was thinking at that point in time, if I were to do events management for the rest of my life, although I enjoyed it very much though, because I always need to move. So events management was really good for me because I can always move, and you're still thinking about how to organize events and really communicate with people as well. And I like to do that. But I realized if I were to do that for the rest of my life, I'm not sure whether I can sustain. So I started thinking maybe I should get something more sedentary. Okay, that's besides the point. But the most important thing was I was also thinking at that point in time I wanted to start writing a book. Which was a book that I launched in 2014 called Teach a Life for Life. So in order to launch a book, you need to write it first. In order to write, you need to be able to know what you're writing. So that means you need to know how to write properly, like basically. So I thought the best way, and I was already like in my early 30s. So I thought the best way for me to do it is to learn on the job. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to look for communications job so that I can work and still learn.
Good idea.
So I actually got a job with the Singapore Workforce Development Agency to be a media relations officer then. And I really learned on the job. I learned how to write speeches for the ministers as well. But of course, like for a proper PR a person to write a speech, I think they can do it maybe within half an hour, to write it. It took me a few hours. So of course I wasn't as efficient because I was really learning. But I learned about a lot of writing skills, the technique towards it, and I improved, and I started to start my own blog so that I can improve in my writing. And through my blogs, I will actually look into the Straits Times, look in Google for people who are writers, and then I will actually knock on their doors and say, hey, my name is Eileen and I want to actually improve my writing. Hope you don't mind. Can you actually have a look at my blog? How do you think I could actually improve? Is my grammar okay? So I'll be very nice about it and ask them for help. And actually many of them would help. And that was really nice. And that was, in a way, how I actually improve as well. So actually, for this point, right, it's really about a learning mindset, because I was never really a writer. There are times when I don't even really talk when I was a child. So when I was forced into a situation where I needed to talk in invest management, I realized I like talking. And then when I needed to write, I realized I need to actually improve my thing. So I needed to find help. So this is really about learning mindset. And I think for you, Eugene, I think this is something that you really focus on as well. So,
Yep.
so
Wonderful. Great minds think alike.
yeah.
Yeah. We must.
Yeah.
There's no other way to live. We must learn.
Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah. So then through that I then launched my book. But before I launched my book, I realized when you're working, there are certain things you start to realize about yourself, that sometimes being on your own as an entrepreneur might be a better choice. So I decided to leave being employed at 100% employed to become an entrepreneur, because I felt that that is where I can bloom now, I can blossom.
Yes.
Yeah, so I left, and in 2014 I launched my Teach a Life for Life book. So the Teach a Life for Life book, which is about sharing life lessons learned through sports and music. Not only did I write the book, I also launched my music, which was then called Violin Live Looping. So Violin Live Looping, at that point in time, I was probably the first violinist to do live looping original songs and singing it. So I actually collaborated with some other lyricists for them to write the lyrics for me.
Yes.
And then we collaborated together, and then I would sing the song while I actually play on my violin using gadgets to loop my music.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was also quite a learning curve, and I was very lucky as well, because to do the violin live looping, not only do you need the technique, but you also need to know how to use the gadgets, how to set it up. So I was also very lucky that there were musicians who were willing to actually share with me how to actually get it done. The most important person to actually mention here, I would really love to mention, his name is Randolph Arola. So he really helped me a lot for violin live looping. Yeah, he's really well known in the looping world. So yeah, so Randolph, thank you. Sorry?
He's in Singapore?
Yeah, he's in Singapore.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So
and then that violin school transited, is it slowly evolved?
Yeah, so how the violin school evolved, it's from basically from few students to quite a number of students lah. So I think the most important thing at that point in time was why I did the launch of the Teach a Life for Life book, because I wanted people to learn about my life lessons so that they don't repeat the same mistakes that I've made.
Right.
And also the second important thing was to help people realize that Eileen Chai is no longer a sports person, but a music teacher, a violinist. So I needed to put myself out there for people to know that, hey, Eileen Chai is now a violinist, a violin teacher, a violin performer, no longer an athlete.
Yeah.
So that's why I needed to have a big launch.
And that was at 30-something, right? 30-something years old.
Yeah, 2014. So that was 7 years ago. So now I'm 42.
Yep.
My math, so 30.
Never mind.
I mean, you calculate.
Yeah. Early 30s. Early 30s.
My math is not very good.
No, but you're very good in many things already. No need to be good in everything. Also, in your early 30s, you started this violin school, and that was the first time you become known in the music world, because before that it was all sports. Even your full-time employment is like to teach sports, go sports council, everything, right?
Yeah. And actually during my interview with Singapore Workforce Development Agency, when I stepped in, I won't mention who, the boss then, during the interviewing time, she actually said, I know you do not have background, but we would really like to have you, because with your sports background, we know that you will have the drive to learn. So we are going to accept you. Straight away, she told me that already. Yeah, I was in a way, as much as I want to move away from sports, but I think having a sports background actually have helped me a lot. It's like a jumping board now.
Yes.
To help me in my career. So but I just needed something to change to actually for people to identify that I'm no longer a sports person.
Yeah.
And I was actually very lucky as well. My Teach a Life for Life book was edited by this guy called Ivan Lim, and together with his wife Kara, they made the launch pretty successful. The book was one of the top sellers in the third quarter of the year in 2014 in the leading bookstores lah.
Yes.
Yeah, at that point in time lah.
Wow.
So I was very lucky then, and because of that, I started to have weekly speaking engagements, performances. Literally weekly is that every week I will have at least 1 or 2 engagements, and then my students started to increase as well. So I was very grateful for that, but of course it also took a toll on myself, because it gets a bit too much that I could not handle. And I guess at that point in time I was also greedy. I just, whatever that comes, I just say yes, okay, no problem, I can do it, because I was a sports person before. I can do it. Yes, I'm a superwoman. Yeah. So I just took everything in, and I got really tired actually. Not mentally tired as well as physically tired. Yeah. No complaints, but just tired.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So you were very tired through your 30s, right?
Yeah, so that was in 2014. Then in 2000, and then I got married.
2015 you got married.
No, end of 2013. End of 2013 I got married. And
yes. What juicy thing I'm gonna say next?
And in actual fact, towards the end of our first year of marriage, my husband, who is Ben Cranen, we were actually having fights. I wouldn't say fights, quarrels.
Because of the busy schedule?
Every day. I was always frustrated. Any little thing I would actually get worked up. Any little thing would trigger me. Any little thing I would not feel happy. But and in a way that led me to actually start the mental health initiative. We can talk about it later lah.
Sure.
But basically
you're describing 13, 14, 15, right? That's what you're describing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the release of the book to our first year of marriage, we really thought we might not be able to sustain our first year of marriage. I mean, even on our anniversary night, although we had make the reservation for dinner, in the end we ended up at home because we had a quarrel. Nothing to do with him. Is really my own perspective of how things were. I just had the wrong perspective about everything. I mean, looking back, I now I know why, because I was really tired, and there was also a bit of mental health issues. But I'm just glad that we managed to get past that line. Yeah, so now we are still happily married.
Yes, has it been?
So
13, right? 7 years.
7 years.
Wow, congratulations. Which one is your anniversary?
December 28th.
Oh, wow, coming up soon, huh?
Yeah, we already made a reservation already.
Wow, good.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the mental health part, since you mentioned it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people have exactly what you just described, right? I mean, their marriage has conflict, or some are not even married, but they just everything trigger, like they shout at their own parents, or some don't shout, some just shut down and start to blame themselves, and it's becoming worse and worse, right, in Singapore. I'm sure. I mean, you are in this field, you know, right, and you run the movement. Can you tell me a little bit about your movement, what it does, and how do you think should be done for Singapore?
Okay, so in a nutshell, why I even started was because of what I went through. What I went through was because I started hurting my mom. I started hurting my husband, not physically, but through the words that I say to them. But many times when I do that, it's not because I blame them for anything. It's because I was very frustrated inside. And I needed something to let out to. So the people that who always suffer, if anybody who's listening, who is listening to this now, and you see something that is similar to what I'm actually saying, we totally understand you, because many times we understand that when we do such actions, when we say such things, it's not because we blame other people. No, it's because there's something inside our brain that we are thinking, that we need to let it out. And so the easiest way to let it out is to throw it at our loved ones. Yeah, to our friends, we usually don't. It's always to our loved ones. So if you are listening into this, if you realize that and you haven't, and if you actually want to make an improvement in that part of your life, it's good to actually see maybe a counselor or psychologist. Yeah, it definitely will be helpful. So because of what happened, and my drastic point came when I started to cut myself. And
I mean,
on
isolate yourself, is it?
What I meant was there was a time when, because of a trigger, I slammed my hands into a kitchen knife.
Oh.
And the blood just splattered lah. So that was the second last call, and my husband realized that I really needed to seek help. But at that point in time, that's why I'm saying that for people who are listening now, if you realize that you might need help, but it may not be the right time, because at that point in time, although I did hurt myself, I still didn't see that I needed to seek help. I just felt that my brain is like this. How can it be changed? It can't. How can you cannot take a CPU, right? Then swap it. You can't do that. So to me, at that point in time, I was not ready to seek help. But because for my husband, I said, okay, fine. We see a psychologist, but online psychologist. That person should not know my background, because I don't want that person who is talking to me to judge my past.
Yes.
So we got an online psychologist, and for a few sessions was really good, but I didn't feel it was very effective, only because I was still not ready to accept help. The psychologist, I must say, I think he was very patient with me. He's very good, but it was me who was not ready to accept help. So I stopped the sessions altogether. But then in 2016, 1st February 2016, I decided to I really just wanted to end everything. I just got so tired of myself always hurting people with my words. I started a music band at that point in time. I was always scolding my band members. I felt bad, and it was the wrong thing to do. And it has nothing to do with them. It's all me. But I couldn't control my anger. So I thought being on this earth was it's not right for me to be on this earth, because I'll harm more people. So stop it. I have to end this. I just have to leave this world, and everybody will be happier without me. Yeah. So I 1st February, I really wanted to go. But I was very lucky that my husband actually found me. So that's why I'm still here.
Where were you?
I cannot tell you.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't got my
confidential.
So but having said that, it because of that incident, it was a wake-up call for me that I really need to seek help. Because even that day, 1st February, when my husband found me, because he was chasing after me, he tore his Achilles tendon. So in the end, I have to bring him to the hospital. I mean, that was a funny moment though.
Yeah.
So and he really tore his Achilles tendon. And just give you a funny snippet. So the at the A&E, the nurse actually asked us, so what happened? So I look at my husband and we said, we were just running after the bus lah. But the next day, we needed to see the specialist to actually make a date of the surgery and all that. So the specialist then read the report and said, oh, the nurse said that husband running after wife. That was so funny. Okay, but jokes aside, I guess it was really a wake-up call, and I finally realized that I needed to seek help. So for those who are listening in, it's all for those that you are really suffering. You need to seek help, but if you're not ready yet, we totally understand. It's okay to take your time. it's okay to take your time, because if you are not ready yet, it will not be as effective. But if you know that you really need to seek help already and you're ready for it, please go, please go. It has worked wonders for me and for a lot of people. Yeah. So and especially, and of course, for those who are not actually suffering for any mental health condition, you see a friend who is actually going through some form of condition, yeah, we need to give time. I think there are certain scriptures in the Bible, quite a number actually, that says we always need to give space and time for our friends, um, for them to understand certain things. So it's the same thing for one person to understand when to seek help. We need to be given the time and space. And when that day happens, the epiphany moment comes, we will go. Yeah. So for people who do not have the condition, yeah, I think the most important thing is just to be there for your friends. We cannot be pushed. Yeah, because even we go and seek help, it will not be as effective. We'll just be dragging our feet, and it might actually become worse because we might not even believe in seeking help anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need time and space. Yeah. So then, okay, then back to what happened. So I started. My husband actually, my husband is so nice. I feel like I owe him a lot. So what he did was he actually went searching online to see who might be a suitable psychiatrist for me, because he knows that psychologist probably won't work. Because of my imbalance in my brain, he has seen a psychiatrist before, so he knows how medication can work.
Yes.
It was effective for him, so he thought that a psychiatrist might actually be more effective for me. So he went around searching for a psychiatrist. He found one. He actually went to see the psychiatrist first, but the psychiatrist at that point in time said he's very full, so he referred my husband to another psychiatrist. So this psychiatrist became my doctor, who is called Dr. Ken Ang.
Mm.
Um, I was willing and ready to seek help, but it was still not easy for me to pick up the phone to make an appointment. I remember that morning, when I actually planned, and I literally had to mentally prepare myself to make the call. I already mentally prepared to make the call, but it was still difficult for me to dial the number. I remember I was just crying, and I was like, why do I need to do this? If I made that call and I go and seek help, would that doctor actually start judging me? Would my friends start calling me that I'm a freak? Would they say I'm a crazy? What would my students' parents think about me? And there was so many things that went through my mind. It was really not easy, but at the end of the day, I did call, and the first thing that I went to when I went in to see my doctor, the first thing that he said was, "It's good to give. Giving is definitely wonderful. We are still giving, and I think giving is important.
Yes.
It makes us happy, and there's a lot of wonderful positive outcome that can come out of it. But I guess we also need to learn how to rest and receive." So that was the first thing that he talked to me about. And the next thing that he said was about relationship with God. So of course a doctor, I guess they can never bring in religion.
Yeah.
But I did tell him that I really wanted to hear more about relationship with God as well. Not per religion per se, but really about creating a relationship with God. So what we did was, we went two prongs. We talk about relationship with God, usually based on my questions to him, because I would do my homework first. We
Yes.
did cognitive behavioral therapy, where I would write about my feelings, my thoughts the entire week, and how I would manage my anger, my emotions, my thought process during that week, and then we start talking about it. Yeah, because there are times when you have, for example, when there are times when you have a trigger moment, like somebody says, "Hey, let it go lah, it's okay lah." For us at that point in time, when you say "let it go," what are you saying, that I'm useless?
Yeah.
Although I know that I'm useless at the point in time, that was my self serving jargon at that point in time for myself. But it does trigger something. Are you saying that I'm not good enough? then you start to go into your depression, your anxiety, because no, I think I need to get out of this place. People don't like me. No, it's not, a lot of things runs into your mind, but in actual fact, no, that is not true. Your friend was just being giving well-intentioned words, and they are
Yes.
being concerned for you, and they love you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there was a lot of these negative thoughts that went through my mind, and so 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 we really dealt with that. And along that, when I was seeing the psychiatrist, along that I was also attending a marketplace called Christian Fellowship Ministry
Oh,
to have more spiritual help. So I was doing concurrently now spiritual help as well as therapy sessions.
right.
Yeah. So then 1.5 years later, I actually during one of the uh, uh, prayer ministry at the Christian Fellowship Ministry
Mm,
(CFM),
yes.
I actually saw burning me. So I literally was burning up. I really didn't understand what was
You
going
mean
on
your
at that
vision?
point.
Vision, is it?
Yeah, I saw a visual of myself burning up. But not at the age that I am, but at the age that I was when I was training in China.
Oh,
So, in a way, that was the start of my recovery. Only 1.5 years later that I really start to really recover. I was for 1.5 years. I was going for my sessions. I was going for the CFN spiritual help. I did make improvements, like technically how I should do this when I think of this, or when people say this. Technically, I was trying to make the change, but to have the full transformation, it started 1.5 years later only. So it takes time. Everything takes time, and even now, so many years later, I still have my trigger moments, but the important thing is how I manage my thoughts, control my emotions now, and has become easier. It used to take me like 1 week probably to let go of certain things. Now
wow.
it can take me split seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, and has made my life so much better, not only for mine, but
Yeah.
for Ben's as well.
Everyone around you, like, I suppose, the loved ones.
Exactly. So seeking help is really important. So because of that, because of the transformation that I saw, how my life has become better, even my teaching has become better as well, because I would scold less.
Yeah.
I was more encouraging. I was saying nicer things to my husband and my mom.
Mm,
So
yeah.
and their life has become better as well because of my change. So
Yeah.
imagine if I can feel the change,
Yeah.
uh imagine how other people would feel as well. So
Yes.
because of that, we started to think about, my husband and I, we started to think about how we can actually give back in that sense. Because my motto in life is actually to give through music.
Mm,
So everything I do is about giving through music. So even for Teach Your Life, about giving through the life lessons that I've learned. Then for the mental health initiative, we thought, okay, we will give through music as well. But how? So we will create songs that sing about hope and show empathy to people with troubled minds lah.
mm, mm.
So that was how we actually started. So what exactly is this project all about? It's called 3 a.m. Music Collective.
Yes.
So 3M Music Collective is about collaborating with musicians or different artists of different ethnic groups,
Mm,
different age groups, or millennials, a little bit more senior musicians as well, to create music of different genres. So it could be classical, it could be pop, it could be R&B, it could be just rap,
mm.
it could be hard rock as well.
Yep.
So what we have done for the past 2 years, so we started this project about 2 years ago. We have produced 10 songs. So these 10 songs, actually, they have a story. The 10 songs, they run through from being happy in life to being lost. Or like, let's say, why is this person always saying bad things to me in our mind? Then we get angry with that person, and then how we start to realize, then when you're angry, there'll be a time when you simmer down. So that's a time when you start to search about your identity, or you search why are things like this? Do I have a mental health problem, or do I need to, or is it just me, or why am I always hurting people? So you start to search, about your life. Then you start to let it go. Then you start to realize you need to uh, uh, um, seek help. Then during the journey is never an easy journey. So that's the sixth song. Then when you finally become recovered, you become a new person, whom you love everyone, and then the ninth song is about knowing that when you recover, it's not just your own self help. Is also because of the people around you who have been helping, like your caregivers. My caregiver is definitely my husband, and the wonderful love that you have received from your friends. Then the last song is about celebration of life. So you realize things are really wonderful. Things can still be rosy at 3 a.m. When you hear our songs, you realize that, hey, at 3 a.m. things will still be wonderful. 3 hours later, the sun is going to rise up again, and it's a new day. Yeah, so and you start to celebrate about life because you are a new person. You are going to live through life. Yeah, so these 10 songs run as a story, and these 10 songs you can actually hear it on Spotify, YouTube, as well as Apple Music. And we actually recently performed all the 10 songs with all the various artists. About 28 artists were involved in these 10 songs, and we actually performed it live, virtual concert live, with the National Council of NCSS, Social Services,
Yes.
for the Beyond the Label virtual concert, which is about mental health as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are very grateful for that performance as well, because I think the outreach has been quite huge. I think the viewership for Facebook has been about 115,000. So our hope is when people listen to the music, if you're suffering from a mental health condition, you realize that, hey, every song there's hope, and you realize that I'm not the only one, and it's okay to feel sad, feel depressed, or feel anxious for certain times, but you realize, hey, the next day will still be a bright day for all of us, right? So that's what we want to try to achieve, lah, to bring that message across through our music, so to give through music.
That's really
Yeah.
very meaningful and very beautiful. What is next for 3 a.m.? Is there going to be another 10 songs or something else?
Yeah, to produce the 10 songs,
Yeah.
it requires a lot of funding. So the entire 10 song has been funded by self-funded. So
Oh, okay.
I need to recuperate my finances
Fun.
for a while. Yeah, but having said that, I'm not
Sponsorship? How about sponsorship? No.
it's not easy to get it's not
I
easy
see.
to get
Well,
sponsorship
people are listening to
for.
us right now. Anybody wants to sponsor, I'm sure they can contact you, right? Right.
Yes.
But I'm serious that there are a lot of people who have the money and they want to find a worthy cause to support. Yeah.
I understand. So um um having said what I just said, um we have been very happy to actually self-fund the projects,
Ah.
because we believe in the outcome, we believe in the cause,
Mm,
because we know how seeking help has been very effective and good for everyone, for yourself and for the people around you.
yes.
It can change your lifestyle to a very to a very happy one.
Yes.
And we have been very grateful for NCSS giving us the support to fund the concert as well. So definitely we are very grateful for whatever funding
Yes.
that we already have.
That's right.
For 3am Music Collective, the moving on is that we'll continue to collaborate, but no longer 10 songs, is together, because we want to outreach to more musicians. So whoever wants to collaborate, we will collaborate, and we put it live on YouTube and all that. But what along the way for these 2 years, what I also figure out about mental health, and I think what this is also what the government is trying to do, is to build resilience in our children, in our next generation. So it's still related to mental health. So I would actually want to focus more towards that area while we are keeping the 3M Music Collective moving
Yes.
forward. Yeah, so if anybody wants to fund, I think that will be the next move that I'll be moving towards too. But that will take me another year for me to actually form up. What I actually plan to do, I'm going to just let in a little bit because it's still related to mental health.
Yes.
Because what I realized through the 2 years is uh, a little bit about what happened is why I have a mental health issue is because of childhood. I think a lot of us have mental health issues. Whether is it a lot or whether is it very little, many times it comes from our childhood. Not 100%, but many times.
Mm.
For my case, because I train in China, so I trained in China during my formative years. During formative years, it's very important that you communicate a lot. I did not. In China, most of the time I was left alone. I did not need to speak a word. So that means my language skills becomes a little bit
Mm.
okay, it's not just about language skills, but you lack the learning of empathy because
Mm.
of communication. You don't really need to talk to you like now I'm looking at you. I can see that you are a 皱眉头, you are
Mm.
cringing your eyebrow. I can see your facial expression.
Yes.
So and when kids learn communication and through facial expression, they learn about empathy. I'm not just grabbing words from up
That's right.
anywhere. It's actually through surveys. If you just Google for it, or you look for resources in the library, there are surveys that has been done that if you want to develop empathy or resilience in a kid, communication is the first most important thing. And to actually observe facial expressions in adults or even with their friends, with their peers. The next thing is actually to have skin touch.
Oh, yes.
And the easiest way to have skin touch is a hug.
Hug. Yeah.
And when I was a kid, because I was always training in China, after training, which is already very tough and lonely, you go back to your hostel, there was no one there for you.
Mm.
So that of course, no, who knew at that point in time? My parents didn't know about psychology. Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know. If I knew, I wouldn't have actually chosen to actually go to China to train.
That's right.
If the sports associations knew, of course, they would have actually advised me not to go overseas alone to train, right? So nobody knew. I'm not blaming anyone. It's
Yeah.
just that the situation at that point in time created a situation where I was like in a foster home.
Yes.
So I didn't have anybody to look up to. Hence, it created all these problems with me only surfacing now.
Mm.
Yeah, so because of that, I realized if to deal with mental health problem is not about when something happens, then I think you need to seek help already. So that's already a little bit too late. That means you allow things to happen and then you seek for help. What I think we should be moving on now is to even prevent that from starting in the first place.
Yes.
Right. That's why I think the government now is talking about building resilience in kids. I think the government is really going into the right direction because it is important to build resilience in our kids and
Yes.
also to learn about empathy. Because
Yes.
together with empathy and resilience, I think our children, when they grow up, there will be less mental health problems. I'm not saying it will be eradicated. That I don't think there's always a perfect world. There won't be, but
Yes.
at least there'll be less and and um and I think everybody will be helped and everybody will be happier as well. Yeah, so what I'm going to do on the next thing, besides still maintaining 3AM Music Collective, is I'm going to create a music book for
Mm.
kids.
Mm.
It's geared towards violin playing, of course, but it will have other instruments included as well, so that the music book becomes like a family affair.
Mm.
Because as a child, you being a father, I think you are very sure that you have brought up your kids very well, and you know that to be a parent is really not easy,
Mm.
but you try your best. So what kind of best do we want to give them is to communicate with them, less social media,
Yes.
communicate with them. Social media is fine,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I guess what we use it as a tool, not
Mm.
for the social media to actually make use of us. So yeah,
Yes.
to have more communication time with your children, And one of the best ways is to make music, right? You can do it through singing, you can do it through playing the guitar, through playing the keyboard. Then the child, if they choose to play the violin, then they can actually play the violin. Everybody starts to play together.
Yes.
And the book will have a storyline as well.
Oh.
But the storyline will not be like, because I think studies have also shown that if a child's book is too, they cannot relate to it. Like they show a funny looking rabbit talking about life lessons.
It's too distant, is it?
Yeah, they cannot associate. So if it's really about really they see a child, they can then relate better, and real life stories. So the stories will be something that the kids will be able to relate to, like going to the supermarket together with your father.
Yes.
And then they hear some music, so there's a storyline to the entire book, and there will be volume 1, volume 2, so that it becomes a progressive learning musical learning journey for the child. So this become a family affair. But the underlying meaning behind this is to create resilience and empathy for the kids while they are still young. Yeah, true. Because once you create music, when you're happy, you start to high five. I mean, even when you are when you see a child who's very cute, hey, hi, they're so cute, high five. Just that pure touch, the rubbing of the skin can really make a difference in the kid's life. So I think my next thing about mental health is really to get towards kids already. So that's my next plan. So if anybody wants to know more about it, please message me.
What's the name of the project? Have you found a name?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Because of my past experience, I learned I cannot rush through things.
Don't need to.
So but I given myself a timeline of 1 year. 1 year should be able to get me to get this project off the ground. So
wow.
So it's still related to mental health, but it's geared towards to arrest the situation while we still can, rather than already happen and then seek help.
Hey, call me in. Yeah. Let's join hands. I mean, I don't have much money or music talent, but I have a lot of friends.
So let's keep in contact, man.
A lot of my friends are musically very talented. Yeah, including my brother. My brother plays 华乐 and 西洋乐, both.
Okay,
二胡, 古筝, everything.
So you see, this project can already expand to quite a lot of ways already, like collaboration with so many other people as well.
Yes.
So I'm actually looking forward to this.
Thank you, Eileen. Your story has shown. I mean, although it sounds like wow, so many things has happened, but actually it's about one theme only, right? It's about discovering yourself and living a life that is really abundantly joyful, kind, helpful to other people, whether it is as a parent or as a child or as an athlete or as a musician. Throughout, there's always been, in my opinion, this central theme. And I'm sure, I mean, 42 is still young. I'm 44, and I feel that I'm in kindergarten right now. Because
always the learning mindset.
Learning mindset, and we are in a new career. I mean, new is relative lah. I'm 6 years doing a life coach, and then you have been since 2013, right? Is it?
Full time.
So more or less, it's like your second phase of life right now, and there's a book called Halftime, which I've never read honestly, but a lot of my friends always say, "Hey, midlife crisis, better read Halftime." So I managed to find out what is inside the book without reading it. And it's about, most people are driven towards success in the first part of their life. Success in sports, in academic studies, in career, climbing corporate ladder, earning how much, buying their new house, new car, everything, right? Success, and that drove a lot of people to mental breakdown. Either depression, anxiety attack, or anything.
I think
sorry.
No, you continue first. Continue
and then the second part of the life is if we are mindful, if we seek help, if we have good friends reminding us, if we engage a life coach like me, yeah, then we
Yeah.
will find significance. Then we
Mm.
will find spiritual growth. So it's other S,
Yes.
no longer success, but the more meaningful S in our life. Yeah, and then
Yes.
the whole life will be very different. Like what you're doing now. It's not just about winning the medal, achieving greatness, appearing in newspaper, but you're thinking of like, hey, how do I give back? How do I help children be resilient? How do I teach life lesson to my violin students? How do I love my husband more? Yeah, and I think everybody can learn from you in this second half of life. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can learn from one another. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. Once in a while, I still scold my students, and I feel bad about it. So
Yeah,
I'm not
normal.
I'm yeah, I'm not perfect. So but I think as long as we know that we keep trying, I think that's the most important thing. And when we do so-called fail in our perspective, we also need to forgive ourselves. I think that is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very sure through your life coaching, a lot of people. I mean, I see you on LinkedIn as well. A
Mm.
lot of people would have actually have you have rubbed a lot of positive vibes on them. I think. I mean, even myself, I probably can learn a lot from you as well. I mean, even
Thank
just
you.
just look at you. You're always so energetic, and
Uh,
that's important when we are dealing with other people, because we want to have a positivity for other people, not
yes. Yes.
negativity. Negativity just pulls you down and down, and it's very tiring.
Yeah.
So definitely can learn a lot from you too.
Thank you.
uh,
Thank you. Yeah. Just now you mentioned
yeah.
one keyword which I need to learn, and anyone watching this may want to learn, which is empathy. Yeah, because
Mm.
energy, I mean, is a very useful E. Empathy, in my opinion, is a more helpful E. Yeah. And your name is E, and
Both
my
are
name is
both
E.
both.
Yeah,
Oh,
Eileen,
yeah.
Eugene, all E. Hello.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so we need to have
Yeah.
energy and empathy. Yeah, because I used to lack empathy. I have a lot of energy. I have
Oh,
energy
I
speak
cannot
now.
see that.
Yeah, yeah, you have to know me more. A lot of people who know me deeper and deeper will say, "Oh, Eugene, you lack empathy," and then to the outside world, they only see the energy. Yeah, so that's something I'm discovering for myself. I need to grow the empathy part of my life. Yeah.
Oh well, if you say so.
I say so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, having lost my job before is helpful for my empathy, lah. Because before that, I was very judgmental. I still am, but having lost my job now,
I think it's
I'm
human nature. Yeah,
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 it's human nature to be judgmental. And just now you mentioned beyond the label. A lot of people like to give labels to
yeah.
other people, like, oh, this person is what, like, oh, this person has bipolar, this person is depressed, this person has ADHD, and then it's a label
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
not helpful.
Yeah, which is true. So for people who are really trying to talk about mental health, like I keep telling people about my story. There was a time when I was thinking, yeah, the rate I'm going, I wonder if my students' parents will start to label me,
Oh,
or that I'll be stigmatized. So I really had to think through. I thought through, and I realized, if the parents have faith in me, I shouldn't need to worry.
mm,
Because ultimately I know myself that I've gone past this mental health condition
yeah,
doldrum. So
mm,
I'm really rising above it already. So I shouldn't be worried about it. And I'm very, very fortunate, I guess, blessed that
mm,
my students' parents have been very open-minded about it.
yeah,
And some of them know, I mean, they are all on social media as well. So they know that I'm actually doing this Tree and Music Collective as well. And I think it has been a worthy journey, because I can see that they had been very welcoming about this project as well. They even watched the BTL Fest concert on social media, and they like how this is going now, because I think mental health is about is for everyone. uh,
mm,
Sometimes we are sad. Doesn't mean that we need to seek help, but if another person knows that you're sad, and you actually just text the person, or you do a Zoom chat, or you do a
yeah,
what house party chat, I think
yeah,
that already makes up a lot of things, because you're rubbing off positivity.
Yes.
other people.
Yes.
So mental health is really for everyone, and we should not be scared to talk about it lah.
Yes.
So, but for those who are really putting forward, we also must be brave enough to actually just know that whatever we are doing is the right thing lah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you, Eileen, for your time. There's a lot of
Mm-mm.
collaboration moving forward.
Yeah,
So
definitely possible.
yes, yes. Yeah, please keep me in the loop, and a lot of people
Yeah.
watching this, I'm sure they will want to join in as well. Mm.
Okay. Yeah, sure, sure. So thank you to you as well for having me and
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, I'll end the recording here. Thank
Okay,
you.
sure. Okay, thank you.